Well, that may not have necessarily been the performance that we needed, but that was certainly the result that we needed. A resounding 4-1 win for Manchester United in their first leg against Real Betis, which all but seals their place in the next round, barring an incredible comeback from Betis in the second leg. Now, I'm not going to rule that out. Anything is possible in Europe. We've seen that so much over the last few years, but I have to think that we've done enough tonight to give some players a rest next week, especially with all the big games that's still coming up for us at the moment. But look, I'm going to start by saying I thought Real Betis were really, really poor tonight. And I feel like that has to be said because I don't think there were many outstanding performances from Manchester United. There were certainly one, maybe two players I would give more than a 7 out of 10 for. But other than that, I don't think we played particularly to our best as well, and the disappointment from tonight is that the game ends 4-1, and if we'd have been ruthless, as a certain other team were to us at the weekend, we could have ended this game with 7 or 8 goals ourselves, and that's the disappointment because we really could have put this game completely out of sight, and we've wasted opportunities tonight. We've been very sloppy at times tonight still, and like I said, I don't want to take away from the result because it's a great result. It's a great momentum builder and hopefully puts to bed all the drama from Anfield. But yeah, I was still a little bit disappointed tonight with certain players and certain passes because I really do think we were very sloppy on the ball, particularly in the first half. And we'll start with that because it's actually where our first goal comes from. 2 very sloppy passes that actually end up resulting in us scoring. Firstly from Diogo Dalot, who decides to loop the ball up to David De Gea under all sorts of pressure, who just about manages to get it away. I don't quite know why De Gea didn't just put it behind for a corner. We almost conceded via that clearance due to the sloppiness from Dalot. We ended up getting a free kick. Casemiro's quick thinking plays a brilliant ball into Rashford, out to Bruno Fernandes. Then comes the second sloppy pass as Bruno tries to find either Rashford or Weghorst at the back post, but doesn't quite connect with it properly. The defender doesn't know where Rashford is. He scuffs it straight to him, and from that point onwards, what a piece of brilliance from Marcus Rashford. The composure to not take the shot initially, to touch it away from the defender and then rifle it, roof of the net. An absolutely unstoppable and unerring finish from Marcus Rashford to give us the 1-0 lead, and it was the perfect start. I really thought that we would build on that and potentially go on and get a few more goals in that first half, but like I say, we were very sloppy. I thought Fred gave the ball away far too many times. I thought even Casemiro gave the ball away too many times. Shaw was sloppy with his passing. Dalot especially was sloppy with his passing, and that is obviously why Wan-Bissaka came on at half-time, and we kind of lost some of that momentum because we were just so sloppy on the ball. Even when Rashford was getting it, he was trying his tricks and they weren't quite coming off. Anthony, as we always know, likes to cut in onto his left foot. So once again, there were 2 or 3 times he got to his fullback, beat him, and he could have just put it across on his right foot. And again, he just cut back, gave the ball away or tried to shoot, and it ended up getting blocked. And the more of the first half went on, it was just like, come on, we can do better than this. And then, of course, Real Betis have their first sort of genuine attack of the game. And they score from it in very controversial circumstances. I know what they said at half-time about the ruling about if it comes off a player's chest then, or comes off another player's body part before touching the arm, it's not deemed as a handball, especially if it doesn't directly lead to the goal, as he wasn't the goal scorer. But you cannot say that when the player goes like that and it comes off the inside of his arm and drops to his foot, that's not a deliberate attempt to use his arm to control the ball. So for me, the Betis goal shouldn't have stood. But the other disappointment about that was Luke Shaw. He had so much time to get out to Jose Perez, and very reminiscent of what happened at Anfield. He just didn't look interested enough to get out there and close him down. And it's a great shot from Jose Perez. It goes through a lot of bodies. I don't think De Gea could have done too much about it. It's swinging in towards that far corner. It's a great shot from Perez, but real question marks on Luke Shaw over that goal. And maybe the amount of games that he's played in recent times has caught up with him, because off the back of the performance at Anfield, it was another disappointing performance from Luke Shaw today as well. But half-time whistle went, and, well, actually before the half-time whistle went, there was that one other chance as the nerves did set in once again, and there was that chance that deflects onto the post. We were quite lucky not to go in 2-1 down at half-time, and that would have been a real concern given everything that did happen at the weekend. But we held out. The nerves did hold until half-time. when the changes were then made. And I have to say, the substitution of putting Wan-Bissaka on absolutely changed the game. What he did was everything that Dalot wasn't doing. We all know about Wan-Bissaka's defensive capabilities. He didn't put a foot wrong defensively in that second half. But even on the ball, he was picking up positions that Dalot really wasn't doing well. His passing was near enough perfect. He was getting to the byline, putting balls into the box. There was a great chance where he got to the byline, cut it back to the edge of the box, and in years gone by, you'd be talking about Paul Scholes coming in on that and drilling it in the corner, but Fred just doesn't have that sort of spatial awareness that the likes of Paul Scholes that used to do. That he's just trundled into the box where Weghorst already was and just left that space completely unoccupied. So I felt a little bit sorry for Wan-Bissaka in that regard. But he was my other 8 or 9 out of 10 tonight, was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I was really, really impressed with his second half performance. And his defensive solidarity allowed us to then build our attacks from there. And then we have to talk about Anthony, because he did get his goal, and I'll admit I didn't celebrate Anthony's goal because I was too busy shaking my head at the Real Betis defender that for the 5th or 6th time in the game allowed Anthony to cut inside onto his left foot and get the shot away, which it's just poor defending in my regard. I'm not going to take anything away from the finish. It's a phenomenal finish from Anthony, don't get me wrong, but that is really poor defending from the Real Betis man. And it gave us the 2-1 lead. It also gave Bruno Fernandes arguably his second assist of the night, if you want to argue for him getting the assist for the Rashford goal. And then he capped off his man of the match performance by grabbing himself a goal from a corner. Great ball in from Luke Shaw, brilliant header. The keeper has to do better, and again, I can't reiterate how poor I thought Real Betis were tonight. Keeper's got to do better. He's got both hands behind the ball and not saved it, and that's really poor from Claudio Bravo. But let's not take anything away from Bruno Fernandes. He was absolutely phenomenal tonight in the central position. It has to be like this from now on. I know we've had some success with him playing out wide and Weghorst at number 10, but it just looks so much better tonight with Bruno in the middle, Rashford on the left, Weghorst up front, Antony on the right. I also thought there was a 10-minute spell before Betis actually scored where Antony was playing on the left and Rashford was playing on the right. And I actually thought we looked a little bit more dangerous, and especially Antony, because he was picking the ball up on the left-hand side, doing his tricks, and then he was hitting the byline and hitting driven balls in. Exactly what we don't see from him from the right-hand side. But the key factor being Bruno Fernandes being in the middle. Dropping in, allowing him to drop deep into midfield with Casemiro and Fred. Him and them playing the passes that they were both, quite frankly, missing at times tonight. And it just made so much more of a difference with him being in there. And they spoke about it on commentary about how we miss Christian Eriksen, and we do miss Christian Eriksen. I think Fred has played relatively well these past few weeks, but in a game like this where there isn't really a danger man, there was no Nabil Fekir, there was no Canales until very late in the game for Betis. There wasn't really a job for Fred to do, and it would have been interesting to know if he would have started the game if Marcel Sabitzer was fit. Again, I think against a team like Southampton, you don't need Fred. So at the weekend, if Sabitzer is fit, I would 100% be putting Sabitzer back in that midfield. Because if you can have Casemiro sitting and then Bruno and Sabitzer dictating play with their brilliant range of passing, I think we'd look a hell of a lot better going forward. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, man of the match, absolutely phenomenal. Driving the team forward from midfield. He was just absolutely unbelievable. And the other thing I would say is that we didn't see any of that whinging that we normally see from him tonight. There were certainly things that went against us tonight. A few decisions, like Weghorst got himself booked for complaining. A few fouls that were given against Rashford and Antony where the Betis defenders were just falling over, and where you normally see Bruno Fernandes turn round and give a proper whinge to the referee. I didn't see a lot of that tonight. If I just wasn't paying enough attention, he was still doing it, please let me know. But it was a much more leadership style performance from Bruno Fernandes tonight. He led by example. He kept his composure. He wasn't raging at things that he normally rages at. And you can argue that he was lucky not to get sent off, and that'll be another one of my questions for the comments of this video. Should Bruno Fernandes have been sent off? I don't think so. Again, they touched on it on commentary. His foot is open. He's not got his studs up. It is over the ball, but it's where the ball could have gone if Bravo would have cleared it differently. So I don't think it was a red card because he's not endangered the opponent because his foot is open. So For me, it wasn't a red card, but again, let me know down in the comments. And then we touch on the rest of the substitutions because they all made an impact. I thought Malacia was fantastic after he came on for Luke Shaw, and it'll be interesting to see who starts against Southampton at the weekend because I've already spoken about Wan-Bissaka, but it would not surprise me to see Wan-Bissaka and Malacia start against Southampton after the performances from Dalot and Shaw tonight. McTominay and Pellistri then, of course, came on and they combined to set up the final goal of the game. Pellistri doing everything that I said Anthony wasn't doing. He got the ball, he drove at the fullback, cut inside, cut back outside onto the right foot, drove to the byline, hit a ball into the box. The thing that Anthony just does not do. McTominay scuffs his shot, it's saved and it falls to Wout Weghorst, who gets his big goal on a big night in Europe for Manchester United. Hopefully this turns the corner for him because he worked so hard tonight once again, but he was just missing the chances. His first goal. His goal was given offside where he chests it in because he timed his run at the wrong time. He then misses an absolute golden opportunity. Again, it would have been called for offside, but he still misses a golden opportunity. He had the shot that was blocked brilliantly by the defender. Didn't go his way. The header that was saved. He just doesn't take as many chances as you'd like or certainly expect from a centre-forward. But he got his goal tonight and you could see how much it meant to him. And like I say, I really hope that is a turning point for him and he can start scoring some goals in the Premier League. He'll definitely get chances against Southampton and I hope he takes 1 or 2 at the weekend for us as well. But I was really pleased for him tonight. He worked his socks off like he always does. Again, I can't give him more than a 7 out of 10 for the chances that he missed. But he worked hard and he deserved his goal this evening. And yeah, we end the game 4-1. A couple of other chances I didn't talk about. Anthony, when all he has to do is square it to Fred or Weghorst. Exactly what I was going on about not having the right foot, about the impact that Pellistri made when he came on. Anthony has to square it and he just goes for the little chip over the goalkeeper. Really poor decision making from him. And like I said, we just got to get that ruthless streak in us. We don't quite have it yet. We don't beat teams 6 or 7-0 like the likes of Liverpool and Man City do. And we just got to work on that. And it's a hard thing to work on because we've not been in a position where we compete at the highest level for a very long while. I know we're a bit off the top of the Premier League now, but we've won a trophy. We're halfway there to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We're still in the FA Cup. So we need to build on this positive energy. We need to start being a little bit more killer in front of goal and we need to start taking more chances. But the game ends 4-1. A few key players get some rest ahead of the Southampton game, the likes of Rashford going off. So we'll see what happens from there. Really pleased with the overall result, even though, like I say, the performance wasn't perfect. But we leave the game at 4-1. The second leg will be in Seville in 7 days' time. Fingers crossed we have done more than enough to see ourselves into the quarter-final. And I now look forward, once again, to the Southampton game after being a little bit worried about this one. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments about tonight's action, your thoughts on some of the players and some of the key decisions that were made. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new around here. I will see you tomorrow morning for my Premier League predictions.